And for another housing horror story, did you say ghosts?
Yeah, so actually, I kind of feel like houses get so much energy and emotion in them. They're almost like living structures. So sometimes I think houses wait for people because you can't explain why this one never sold. It's like it's waiting for someone. And sometimes I think houses don't want to let people go. So I have a story about a house that I listed a few years ago that did not want to let these folks go. So I'm Sarah Bell. I'm with Gold Bell Real Estate, and I'm going to get right into it. So get your pumpkin spice cocoa ready because this is good. So I went to a listing appointment, and the house was completely dark. They had all the curtains shut. It was just pitch black in there. And I told them, we're going to have to open the curtains when we do showings. I hope you know that. And they were like, oh, that's fine. But we sat down on the couch, and we're doing our consultation. And something, it feels like it's looking at me to my right. So I looked over and sure enough, I seen right where the door was and the doorknob is here. I seen a head poke around and then it went like this. And I'm telling you, the room was dark. Everything was dark, but this thing was darker. And it was the full head. It was the shoulders and everything. And it peeked around and then when it seen me, it went back. And I just sat there with chills, but I didn't say anything to the person, the homeowner. I didn't know if that'd make her uncomfortable, or I didn't know if I really seen something. So we went forward. We had a handyman come in to do a couple of repairs in the house, and he called me after the second trip there, and he said, "What's going on in this house? I don't like what's going on in this house. I don't feel good when I leave. I'm sick. Like, is there something in there?" And I'm like, "No, I don't know." So he gets his job done, and we go ahead and we get on the market. And I'm doing an open house, and I'm sitting there. Lots of people were coming in, and it was good. And then everyone left, and I'm sitting on the couch again by myself, and I can just feel something like right here. It was heavy on me. I could feel it, and I ended up leaving the house afterwards and drove home, and just thoughts of like failure. Like, you are not going to sell this house. Like, you are not selling this house. You are a failure. You shouldn't even be doing real estate. Like, what's wrong with you? It was so weird. And I had the worst headache ever that day. So anyway, fast forward, we got an offer. We find out that there's about 8 inches of sewage underneath that home that's been there for every time the toilet flushed, there was a hole in the pipe that was filling up the home. Got it all cleaned up, and it was just one thing after the next. Like, when an appraiser came through, the electric stopped working, plumbing stopped working, furnace stopped working. It was like everything that could happen to prevent this house from being sold was happening to us. And even up until the day of closing, didn't know if it was going to happen. And so after it was all done, I told the homeowner that I saw something in that house, and she told me that the man that lived there before her was in a wheelchair and he died in there. So now I think it was him, because it was somebody sitting that looked around the door, and it was a very interesting transaction. So
Gotcha.
So if you could lend on that, then we'll just go ahead and keep doing business.
Well, if you have a housing horror story, I can help. Ann Langston, guaranteed rate, loanswithann.com.